What is next for Charles Oliveira? What the complete destroying Michael Chandler? What is next from? We should get the winner between Arman Sarukian versus Islam Makhachev number two. Now let's say Islam Makhachev beats Arman Sarukian once again and goes on to fight Charles Oliveira once again. Well, I got Islam Makhachev winning the rematch because in their first fight, Islam Makhachev showed that his power, grappling, and ground game is just way too much for Charles Oliveira. I mean, this guy dropped and submitted Charles Oliveira. Islam Makhachev is just on a whole different level, and it doesn't help that Charles Oliveira has a glass jaw. There's just no way Charles Oliveira beats Islam Makhachev. Now let's say Arman Sarukian beats Islam Makhachev somehow and goes on to fight Charles Oliveira once again. Well, I got Arman Sarukian winning the rematch. Now, yes, in their first fight, Charles Oliveira's grappling was great and almost submitted Arman Sarukian, but Arman Sarukian showed that his striking and ground game is just way too much for Charles Oliveira. Arman Sarukian completely outlanded Charles Oliveira and dominated on the ground. The only way Charles Oliveira wins this fight is if he submits Arman Sarukian, which is very possible, as we have seen in their first fight.
Now, another potential fight for Charles Oliveira, which is very much possible and will be a very good fight, is a fight with Max Holloway, since Max Holloway has said that he's making a permanent move to lightweight, and Charles Oliveira said that he's interested in fighting him for the BMF title. And when Max Holloway was asked about this, he said that it would be an honor to share the octagon with Charles Oliveira once again, since they have some history and since he's one of the best. And he finished off by saying that if he was to get offered this fight, he'll be very happy to accept it, and he can't wait as it will be a huge fight. So this fight is very much possible, and I think it should be next. I don't think Dustin Poirier should get that trilogy with Max Holloway. Instead, it should be Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. So now, how's this fight going to go and who's going to win this fight? Well, it's going to be a crazy fight, and it's definitely going to fall in line with one of the best and most entertaining fights of Charles Oliveira's career, because we know that whenever Charles Oliveira comes to fight, he always puts on a performance. He could be losing the fight, he could be hurt, and he will still be very entertaining for the fans. So let's say that both men stand and strike. Well, I think that Max Holloway is going to outland and outperform Charles Oliveira, since we have seen that in almost all of Charles Oliveira's latest performances, he always manages to get hurt and sometimes even gets dropped. So Charles Oliveira loses on the feet against Max Holloway, but he could definitely still win this fight, and that's by taking down Max Holloway and submitting him, which is very possible because we've seen how easy Ilito Poirier was able to take down Max Holloway. But here's the thing, if Charles Oliveira isn't able to somehow get Max Holloway's back, he could still stop Max Holloway by controlling him on the ground and doing a bunch of ground and pound, and ultimately he gets the finish. But I do believe that if Max Holloway drops Charles Oliveira, he won't follow up because he knows how dangerous Charles Oliveira can be even when he gets dropped and even when he's on his back. So in the end, I do believe that if Max Holloway does drop Charles Oliveira, I do think he's going to wait and signal to Charles Oliveira to stand up. He's not going to follow up. So it's going to be very hard for Charles Oliveira to get a submission in that case. So he's going to have to shoot for a takedown and force a submission. But anyways, I got Charles Oliveira winning this fight, as I can see him being very successful with taking Max Holloway down and working towards a submission and getting that submission.